Hey everyone, quick question. What percentage of your DNA do you think is actually human? 90%. 80. Try this. About 8% of your genome is made up of ancient viral DNA. That's right, viruses inside you right now. In fact, you have more viral DNA in your body than DNA that codes for all your proteins combined. And here's the kicker. You wouldn't be alive without them. I know what you're thinking. Viruses, the things that give us colds and flu. Those are good for us. Stick around, because today we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in modern biology. We're talking about ancient viruses that infected our ancestors millions of years ago, became permanent residents in our DNA, and now they're actually helping keep you alive. This is going to change how you think about evolution, about what makes you human, and honestly, about what you even means. Before we get into the wild science, I want to share something cool with you. If you're the kind of person who loves exploring science like this, you're going to want to check the description below. We've put together an ebook with 50 DIY science experiments and fascinating science facts that you can try at home. And here's the thing, understanding how viruses work, how DNA operates, how evolution shapes us. That's the foundation for so many amazing experiments you can actually do yourself. Everything from extracting DNA from strawberries to understanding how cells protect themselves from invaders. It's all connected. So grab that ebook in the description. It's totally free. And let's keep this science party going beyond just this video. Now, back to those ancient viruses living inside you. So what exactly are we talking about here? These aren't the viruses making you sick right now. We're talking about endogenous retroviruses, or ERVs for short. Here's how it works. A retrovirus is a special type of virus that does something pretty sneaky. When it infects a cell, it doesn't just hijack the cell to make copies of itself. It actually inserts its own genetic code directly into the cell's DNA. It literally writes itself into your genome. Now, most of the time, if a virus infects one of your cells, when that cell dies, the virus is gone. Game over. But here's where it gets wild. If a retrovirus happens to infect a very specific type of cell, a sperm cell or an egg cell, a germline cell, then that viral DNA gets passed down to the next generation. It becomes hereditary. It becomes part of the blueprint for every cell in that offspring's body. This happened to our ancestors. A lot. Over millions and millions of years, retroviruses infected our evolutionary ancestors, got into their reproductive cells, and became permanent passengers in the human genome. These viral sequences got passed down from parent to child, generation after generation, for so long that they're now part of what we call human DNA. They're like ancient fossils, except instead of being buried in rock, they're buried in your chromosomes. Scientists estimate that about 8% of the human genome, more than 30,000 different segments, came from ancient retroviruses. To put that in perspective, only about 1 to 2% of your genome actually codes for proteins, the stuff that makes you, you, so you've got 4 times more ancient virus in you than actual protein-coding genes. Let that sink in for a second. All right, so how exactly did this happen? Let's walk through the timeline. We're going back tens of millions of years. Our ancient mammalian ancestors are roaming around, and retroviruses are everywhere. Doing what viruses do, infecting cells, reproducing, moving on. Every once in a while, a retrovirus gets lucky, or unlucky depending on your perspective, and infects a germline cell. Boom, it's now in the DNA that's going to create the next generation. Now here's the thing, most of the time, this is bad news for that organism. Having random viral code inserted into your genome can break important genes, cause problems, maybe even be lethal. But sometimes, just sometimes, the insertion doesn't cause immediate harm. The organism survives, reproduces, and passes that viral DNA along. Over time, something interesting happens. The viral DNA starts to mutate. Remember, this virus isn't actively replicating anymore. It's just sitting there in the genome, subject to the same random mutations as the rest of the DNA. Most of these ancient viral sequences mutated so much that they're not even functional as viruses anymore. They can't reproduce, can't infect new cells, can't do any of the things viruses normally do. They're basically broken remnants, fossils of ancient infections. But, and this is the big but, some of these viral sequences stuck around for a reason. Natural selection, that beautiful process that shapes all life, didn't get rid of them. In fact, in some cases, Evolution actually co-opted these viral genes, repurposed them, and put them to work for the host. That's right, your body took ancient enemy code and turned it into something useful. This is where it gets really cool. So why are ancient viruses actually beneficial? Let's start with the most dramatic example: pregnancy. You know how when a woman is pregnant, her immune system doesn't attack the fetus? That's actually a huge biological problem to solve. The fetus has DNA from both parents, which means it has foreign proteins that should, by all rights, trigger an immune response. It's basically a foreign organism growing inside another organism. So how does the body prevent rejection? Enter an ancient viral protein called Syncytin. Syncytin comes from a retrovirus that infected our ancestors somewhere between 25 and 45 million years ago. This viral protein does something incredibly important. It helps create the placenta, specifically a part called the syncytia trophoblast, which forms a barrier between the mother's blood and the fetus's blood. This barrier allows nutrients and oxygen to pass through while preventing the mother's immune cells from attacking the fetus. Without Syncytin, without this ancient viral protein, mammalian pregnancy as we know it wouldn't be possible. Think about that. Every human being alive today exists because an ancient virus gave our ancestors the biological tools to develop a better placenta. Pregnancy, one of the most fundamental processes of mammalian life, is powered in part by viral DNA. But that's not all these ancient viruses do. Some ERVs play a role in stem cell development and regulation. They help control when and how stem cells differentiate into specialized cell types. That's critical for proper development. Others are involved in immune system function. Some viral sequences actually help your body fight off modern infections by contributing to the diversity and flexibility of your immune response. And here's something even wilder. Scientists have found that some ancient viral elements act as regulatory switches for nearby genes, turning them on or off in specific tissues or at specific times. They're like dimmer switches for your genome, fine-tuning gene expression in ways that contribute to human complexity. In fact, some researchers think that these viral insertions may have contributed to the evolution of bigger, more complex brains in mammals. That's still being studied, but the idea is that by shuffling around gene regulation, these viral elements may have helped create the genetic flexibility needed for brain evolution. So yeah, you've got ancient viruses to thank for your ability to think about ancient viruses. Meta, right? Let's hit you with some rapid-fire fun facts, because this stuff just keeps getting weirder. Fact 1. Different species have different ERVs depending on when those viruses infected their evolutionary lineage. This actually helps scientists trace evolutionary relationships. If two species share the same viral insertion in the same spot in their genome, that tells us they inherited it from a common ancestor. It's like a genetic time stamp. Fact 2. Not all ancient viral DNA is harmless. Some ERVs have been linked to diseases, including certain cancers and autoimmune disorders, when they become reactivated or when their regulatory effects go wrong. Evolution isn't perfect. Sometimes these ancient passengers cause problems. Fact 3. Scientists are now looking at whether we can use ERVs as tools. If we understand how these ancient viral proteins work, maybe we can engineer them for medical purposes, like improving pregnancy outcomes or developing new therapies. Fact 4. The 8% number for humans is actually pretty modest. Some species have way more. Koalas, for instance, have a retrovirus that's currently in the process of becoming endogenous. Scientists are watching in real time as a virus integrates into a species' genome. That's evolution in action, happening right now. And here's maybe the most philosophical one. If 8% of your DNA came from viruses, and you need that DNA to survive, are those viruses really foreign? Or are they just part of what it means to be human? Where do you draw the line between you and not you? So the next time someone talks about viruses being nothing but bad news, you can hit them with this. You literally wouldn't exist without them. Evolution doesn't waste anything. It's constantly experimenting, repurposing, finding new uses for old tools. Those ancient viruses that infected our ancestors weren't just obstacles to overcome. They became opportunities, raw material that evolution could work with to create something new. And that's what makes biology so incredible. Life doesn't follow a neat, clean blueprint. It's messy, it's complicated, It's full of historical accidents that somehow became essential features. You're not just human, you're part human, part ancient virus, part bacteria, part who-knows-what-else-we-haven, single quotes t-discovered-yet, and that's not a bug, that's a feature. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the weird world of biology, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more science content, and definitely check out that free ebook in the description with 50 DIY experiments and science facts. Drop a comment and let me know. Does it freak you out or fascinate you that you're part virus? I want to know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, you're more than you think you are, literally.